You turned me on to this movie a couple years ago. You're like, have you seen this? And I said, I don't even know what it is. I've never heard of it. And you're like, it's on Netflix. You need to check it out. It's actually really good. I think it was probably in 2021. It was probably 2 years ago when you told me that. And now it's required viewing at Christmas time. Like,
yes, it is.
It has to be watched. It's one of those Christmas movies that, like, it makes you feel better.
Yes.
It makes you smile.
Great mindset.
Yes, it is such a Christmas magic Christmas movie. We've got a podcast to talk about. Welcome back to the Movie Dads podcast. We're your hosts, Howie.
Kyle.
That is Kyle. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's our Christmas episode. Episode 7. Movie Dads podcast. You need to see this movie. 2019 Netflix original animated film, Klaus. If you haven't watched Klaus, you will watch it and it will become part of your Christmas movie watching
immediate Christmas
index.
Tradition.
Immediately. So,
I can't remember if this was a movie that I had told you that you have to watch it.
It is.
Like every friend that I've recommended this movie, they're like, "You're a goofball. I don't care about a Christmas cartoon." And then they're like, I'll get a random text randomly like, "Watch Klaus." Oh my God, that was good. So,
oh my gosh, it's my new favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah,
something like
true.
that. But anyway, if you're watching us on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe. Make sure you click the bell so you get notifications on when new episodes come out, which is typically on Wednesdays. We didn't release one last Wednesday because we're doing our Christmas episode, which is going to come out on the Monday before Christmas because Christmas is on Wednesday. We don't want an episode to come out on Christmas. Can't listen to a podcast on Christmas. It's terrible. Anyway, but if you're not watching us on YouTube, you can also find us on many different podcast networks such as Spotify, Apple, Audible, iHeartRadio, among many others. You can also see some of our short clips and videos on social media at Movie Dads Pod, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're Movie Dads. We've got movie kids. We're going to keep this segment short this week because we want to get to the present opening. Duh. But, man, I just want to say, like, it's been a fun year. I love doing this podcast. I mean, we're kind of, wrapping it up. But, I feel like every episode we talk about somebody was sick when we get to this segment, like every single time. But we didn't really do
at that age.
Yeah, I still do too. And my wife's a school nurse too, so that doesn't help. But
you're seeing it.
This last week, we were going to do Kraven the Hunter. And then the reviews came out and everybody said it was actually worse than Madam Web, which we didn't think was humanly possible. How is that possible? Don't know, because we didn't see it. The reason that, like, we were trying to get a time to go see it, and it was going to have to be super late at night, because my wife got fucking COVID last week. And so she was out of commission. She was useless, fever, body aches, sweats, in the bedroom, separate her from the rest of humanity. So I was trying to do everything. Plus it's Christmas, so there's like extra stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
But it was one night we were going to go see it, and I was like, I don't care enough at this point to see this movie that like has all these terrible reviews. So we skipped it and we figured we'll just do the Christmas episode early, which we should have done anyway, because you've got family coming to town. We've all got stuff next week. But I was talking, like, I'm done Christmas shopping. Everything's wrapped. Everything's under the tree. Every single thing. Nothing is left. I'm done. I'm like, put every single decoration out that I can think of. I went and bought a 20-foot tall Yeti and a Santa hat today. Inflatable, which I can't put out because there's like 100-mile-an-hour winds outside for whatever reason.
Windy.
It's so windy.
I walked outside today and like the wind like smacked me.
Yeah. But I'm like, we're watching Christmas movies every night. Like, I'm listening to only Christmas music in my car. Like, So my wife was like, you are on it this year. And I'm like, listen, I had pneumonia during Halloween. I feel like I missed Halloween and I'm such a Halloween junkie. I am fucking 100% in for Christmas this year. And we're going to have the happiest Merry Christmas since Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny fucking Kaye. And that's what it is. And that's what we're doing. And every day is fucking Christmas party. So that's where we're at.
Oh,
Anyway,
I love it.
that's what I have to say this week. So
Love
me
that.
and my kids are watching Christmas movies and listening to Christmas music non-frickin' stop.
Love that. Love that for you. My Christmas insanity is my mom is coming into town tomorrow, so we're excited to have her because she has not been out here since like 2013 in the wintertime. Because she came out and slipped once on the ice and said she'd never return when it's cold. So we tricked her. Told her we'd fly out because we want you to be with the kids to see the magic with we've got 3 boys. So, but yeah, excited to have her. We did do our Christmas light drive, which Cal is now like old enough that he was just like mind blown seeing all these Santas and lights and snowmans. He kept screaming snowman or Momo as he calls it, is what he calls the snowman. Oh, it was fantastic. So, but yeah, let's good for you, good for me. Christmas. I love hearing that you're into it because
I'm
it's
always
the best time of
into it,
year.
but I feel like I'm at Kyle level into it this year. Like I put a tree in my basement this year that is all decorated in team ornament shit. Like I don't have Santa hats on my action figures. I haven't gotten there yet, but
next year. Great, actually.
Next
that's
year.
A great idea for
next year. I might
Christmas gifts for you.
Like, yeah, I'm on it, and like we have something every night. So tomorrow night we have with the neighbors. We're going out Christmas stuff. Saturday I'm going to the Chiefs game, and then we have and then we have a party to go to Saturday night. Which I guess by the time this will come out, it won't be a surprise anymore. But it's like my brother-in-law's 40th birthday. Sunday night we have Christmas with with my wife's dad's family. Tuesday's Christmas Eve, Wednesday's Christmas. So Monday is going to be the night we're going to have to go look at Christmas lights because that's all we got. That's the only night we have left. It's busy. Packed.
Love that for you. I am excited for our little outing. We usually do like a neighborhood group, like we all get on a party bus type thing to do a light tour, but just couldn't do it this year because everyone's hella busy.
Everybody is busy because everybody's kids are getting to like sports age and shit.
Dude,
it's super busy, and that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, you guys are at freaking basketball tournaments and freaking wrestling tournaments. My wife just told me that without my consent, signed my son up for a very short swim season. It is it's like I think 2 or 3 weeks of practice and there's one swim meet. But when she said to sign him up for swimming, I'm like, I'm not fucking going to the pool every weekend for 9 hours at a time because I know that's how crazy it is. So anyways, I'm getting off track. Let's jump in to my most excited segment of the pod where we are going to it's our special Christmas episode. So this is our 6 to midnight. This is the things that get us up in the morning for nerd news, nerd things, Christmas presents, those types of things. So last year we had, oh my God, I saw the greatest one-handed catch for 2-point conversion. Sorry, I've got the game on. I'll get it out of my way. So I'm a Christmas nerd. Howie's a Christmas nerd. We've established that. Last year, we started our tradition of getting each other a gift. And so I've got Howie's right here.
And I got the one from you right there.
Are we gonna open?
You should go first. Open. But so the comic book, funny story. So I accidentally bought 2 of those because I put a claim on 2 of them. So that's the one you get. It's actually not a bad comic book. Did you know that comic book's the first appearance of Amanda Waller ever in a comic?
Oh, I was literally because when I got it, I'm like, I don't know the significance of this, but typically when you buy a comic, there's some type of significance. So I was like, there's probably a first appearance of someone in here. It's got Darkseid on it, which
it's a cool picture of Darkseid too.
Yeah, I got to do like a frame thing with my Darkseid. So I told my wife that this is my like New Year's resolution, which I wanted to do before my mom got here, but I'm going to do it before the end of the year. Is finally get like my walls up with all of the stuff that I have. So shelves and stuff, and Darkseid's going to be one of those. So All right, let's.
Do you want to go first?
Giant box.
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. All right.
Because I love watching. Oh, hold on. Let me unpin
Your
my
paper's way better than mine. Mine's
okay. Hear me out.
Santa paper.
If you're looking at one side and you're like, wow, he raps like a guy. I actually am a really great rapper, but I wanted to wrap it with that wrapping paper, and I had just enough left. So I had to like finagle a little bit on the corner. There's just one piece of Scotch tape on that flap, so it should be
pretty good.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
One piece of Scotch tape.
Yeah, just right there at the top. There it is.
I did this. Oh hell yeah! What do we got here? Cool, man. Heck yeah. Okay. These are awesome. Thank you.
Okay, time out. So those comics, Howie once saw that I had a random collection of villain cover like set of comics. There's like 40 of them, and then ever since he's been on the run he's been sprinting, tracking him down.
Yes.
His son mentioned that he had three there was three that he couldn't find that he needed.
Yep.
Here's the deal. I don't know if those are the three specific ones, so I was going to do the three I thought he said, and if it was not the three, then I would just switch it out with the ones that you do need.
It's super cool. It's two of the three.
Okay. What's the third one that you're missing?
What's the third one in this set? I think it was Scarecrow.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. Awesome.
I may have a Scarecrow. Well, that was my game plan. I'll just
super cool.
Switch.
Thank you very much for the Switch case. Good old Zelda stuff. That's actually pretty awesome, man. That's an awesome case.
Yeah, I don't know. I assumed you had a case, but you're also like the only video game that you play is Zelda. But that case is
fair.
You should, if I remember right, you can actually, if you have the console where you can plug it in and actually play it on the TV, like everything can travel.
Oh, the whole thing fits in here. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's actually
like a full
super
Switch
cool
on the go.
No, that's great, man. Thank you so much. That's really awesome. I appreciate it.
I'm opening.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for you to open this.
Damn it. Now I feel like mine wasn't. I should have went and got more, damn it. If you got me something crazy.
Same thing. There's like 3 small pieces of Scotch tape holding one side of that on. You'll know which side immediately.
I don't know which side. Oh, there we go.
That
got
side.
It. Okay. What do we got? Oh my God. Howard freaking Erickson. Are you kidding me?
How fucking cool is that?
A fucking Jaguars helmet? Matte black? This is so dope. This is me. This is amazing. Where the hell did you find this at?
Fanatics.
What? These are so expensive.
No.
I bought you a Switch case.
They're not.
Well, I can't actually. Maybe people don't want to. Maybe no one's buying the Jags helmet. But
no.
Oh my God!
There's like 4 people getting helmets this year because they were like getting rid of some of their old ones.
Dude, this is one of the coolest gifts I've ever received. Which it's so random that you got me this because I just probably 3 weeks ago was talking with my wife. I was like, I need to do my Jags side of my wall. And I'm like, I probably should get a Jags helmet. And then I'm like, I looked at them like, these are so expensive. I'll have to wait on my Jags helmet. Look at this helmet. This is so cool. Dude, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
You're welcome.
That is dope. I can't stop staring at it. Oh my God.
My brother-in-law's getting a helmet.
Nice.
My friend of mine's getting a helmet.
Dude,
guess what I'm getting from my wife? A helmet.
Nice. That's well. You've got some cool helmets. You've got a cool little. For those who don't know, Howie is a giant Chiefs fan, and in his basement has a fantastic like fan section that is. There's a lot of cool memorabilia, Super Bowl kind of stuff. Really old school stuff too. So I think that's the one thing I'm a little jealous of you and your obviously I'm jealous of Super Bowls of your franchise, but your franchise is very old and has a lot more history to it. So there's like cool kind of throwback stuff that the Jags really don't have. Anyways, dude, super cool. I am going to nerd out so much about this when I get off.
And thanks for the books, because I've got spots for them right here, and this is great because now we can take the whole freaking console and not just have to play it.
I just saw the Zelda, and I'm like, oh, we gotta grab that for Howie because you're the Zelda nerd. So look at us.
Look at us. Merry Christmas.
Year 2. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So there was some major news. Well, I'd say obviously because this is going to come out in a couple of days, but today is the day that some really, really big news finally dropped. I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to talk about first before we jump on.
You can go first.
That.
I got a couple things I'll talk about, but
okay. So today we talked about the DC universe, James Gunn, and how he's going to kick things off. And we've talked about Superman multiple times and how we're waiting for a trailer. We thought it was going to be maybe at the Super Bowl. And then out of nowhere, they said yesterday, they gave us a little teaser, which was it was like a moving poster with just this amazing kind of subtle score that was just like, it was basically like a girl or a kid humming what I thought was just them kind of doing a play on the original Christopher Reeve Superman, John Williams score. And I thought there's no way they're going to that's going to be the real score for the movie. Well, today the trailer dropped. We finally got the trailer for Superman.
Yeah.
And I am so 6 to midnight, you could call me Man of Steel, because this trailer just got me so hyped for Superman, for the movie. It instilled hope. It kicked off with basically we see Superman crash into the snow. He's kind of laying there bleeding out. It's very like ominous. He whistles as if he's calling a dog, and the camera just shows this mound of snow flying a million miles an hour at Superman, and he shows up, and it's Crypto the super dog. Yep. And like it was just like a moment of, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. And then, as James Gunn had put it a couple days ago, the movie and the trailer was very inspired by Top Gun Maverick, which I thought he was primarily just talking about the flight in the movie, because he said they filmed it a lot like Top Gun Maverick and all those flight scenes. But like he was literally talking about the music, because the second the score kicks in, we get John Williams, Christopher Reeve Superman, like an electric guitar.
Yeah.
It was so dope. It very much was reminiscent of Christopher Reeve, very reminiscent of Top Gun, actually.
Yep.
And just got an incredible trailer. I'm super excited for the movie. How'd you feel about it? What do you think?
I've watched the trailer probably half a dozen times.
Many times.
I did get to see it too on the big screen actually tonight in front of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which I'll talk about in a minute. There was a couple subtle changes. We got a different shot, like in the trailer, which you've watched a few times. The shot with Flex with the gun isn't in the big screen trailer. It's him in a pair of aviators, Lex in a pair of aviators, like walking into a big room. And so I thought that was an odd choice to be different. Why would it be different? And then the Mr. Terrific intro that was in the trailer was completely different. It's him in a different scene, and it's more of a straight on shot instead of at a side angle. So those were different. Those are the only two differences that I noticed. But I thought that was interesting. Now, I thought the trailer rocked. I thought the music was fantastic. I bought Corin Sweat immediately as Superman.
Yes, same.
Actually bought everybody as who they looked like. I was always kind of skeptical of Nicholas Holt's casting, maybe because I've been scorned by freaking Eisenberg, and it just feels like it's kind of a dorky dude again, and then but Nicholas Holt's got some movies coming out. Like he just did The Juror #2, which just came out, and then he's got that one where he's like a freaking neo-Nazi and with Jude Law in it, like that's coming out. So maybe Nicholas Holt's trying to get away from that, persona where he's kind of a dork. I don't know.
He was Beast, right? Beast in the X-Men.
He was Beast. Yeah.
He did there's like I think it's on Netflix. He did like a soldier movie that he kind of is a little bit more badass in it. Yeah. So I agree though. Seeing him in the trailer, it was like, oh, that looks like
just
Lex.
Looked right. Yeah, he just looked right.
I bought it. And James Gunn did obviously a lot of interviews. They even did like a trailer event, which is interesting. They called it a teaser trailer. Yeah, and they released an even shorter, like 3-second teaser for the teaser the day before. So that was kind of funny. But he, in one of his interviews this week, talked about like this movie is right in the middle of like Superman's action and career. Lex Luthor already hates him with the passion, which you even see in the trailer. You just sees him fly by, and
it's just like
seems
seething.
like he's like, I can't stand him.
Yeah.
We got a lot. I had a couple of friends that texted me that they're nerds, but they're not as nerdy about like the details of like behind the scene, set photos and stuff. Like they've been nerding out. So like my brother texted me and was like, there's a lot going on in that trailer. I'm like,
yep.
There was a lot.
Because it's a teaser. They're not trying to show you anything. They're just trying to show you.
Yeah.
It was very clear they were just trying to show you people.
Yes. And so I thought it was an interesting choice that they opened it up with showing Superman like basically crumpled into like a bloody pulp. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh wow, we're showing him like, okay, so he's gonna get his butt kicked in this. But the first like in action scene we got, he like flies in front of a little kid and like protects her from an explosion of these like gas canisters or something. And like, just for whatever reason, that moment, it was like, oh yeah, we got Savior Superman who's coming to save the day. The suit, I'm on board for it. I'm excited. I think I'm more excited and on board for just David Corenswet as Superman, because like you said, I think he's going to be awesome as it. I still am a little annoyed with the New 52 choice with the collar and the wrist things, but like I can get past it because the trailer was just so great. I'm so into it. I'm excited. I can't wait. July 11th, I believe, is the release date. So I'm excited to see it. And
some of the other stuff too, like they showed a lot that looked like they were really trying to emphasize his relationship with Lois.
Oh yeah,
there's like a lot 14 of scenes in that.
Makeout scenes.
Yeah. They obviously showed, we saw Hawkgirl, we saw Mr. Terrific, we saw Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, like clear shots, like in action shots. We saw Metamorpho, like a close-up of him. We saw a monster. I don't know who the monster was, like a giant
Godzilla-sized monster. That was cool. Well, James Gunn lied to us, dang it. He said in an interview that picture, that original suit picture where they showed his suit with that big purple and
putting his boots on
orb. Yeah, they said that's not actually from the movie. That was just like a thing they created for this picture. Nope, it was in the movie. They literally showed it in the trailer. Yeah. Or maybe that scene's not in the actual movie.
Yeah, but that's the joke.
Maybe because we are being invaded by aliens right now, they decided let's add that back into the movie because there are floating orbs all over New Jersey right now. So
but yeah, so we get to see a lot. We see a lot, even though they only show a little. If that makes sense? But like, I was surprised that they showed us almost every character right out of the gate.
The only one we didn't really get a good glimpse of was the engineer, which I think kind of confirms that that's really going to be probably the big bad, or maybe like this. I know, obviously, we know that an engineer is in the movie. Obviously, we know Lex Luthor is his arch enemy,
right?
but I think that character and I believe Ultraman. We got to see a little bit of a tussle in a baseball stadium, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just everything about it. The flight of Superman looks cool.
Yep.
It was very bright, very colorful, very James Gunn, like different take than Snyder, and
obviously not as weird as like you're accustomed to from
for
James
sure.
Gunn,
Yeah, which he talked. This just came out like right before we started. He was talking about, people were asking like, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy is a comedy, like it's more comedy than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad, same thing, and he basically said that there's funny moments in it, but it's more serious than both of those properties. So I'm like, okay, cool. I like that. I love that. So it's gonna be good.
You don't want too many jokes. It does look good. It does look good. It's a teaser trailer. Obviously, my biggest concern is there's too many characters in it.
That's what I was trying to say when the people that texted me, they said that exact thing of like, there's a lot going on and there's a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of characters. So
how do you tell a story about Superman with that many characters, because Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a team up movie, right? Like it's a team. This isn't a team up movie. It's Superman. Like you can have other characters working with him, but it's still Superman's movie,
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are thinking that it's like that's just like the Justice League, but I don't think that group is the Justice League. It's interesting. They all have their own like colored version, but they all have the like members only coats.
Yeah.
I will say I do not like the like Guy Gardner's Green Lantern costume. They look, Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific, they look like Guardians of the Galaxy style like uniforms. They're literally I think there's something, there's like some organizational or professional group that they're going to say that they work for. Is it the
Justice Society of America?
Maybe they went to that location in Cleveland. I forget the name of the building, but it basically the building that inspired that Justice League or Justice Society like home base, big like half circle building. So that could be. I don't think it's a Justice League thing. I also kind of got the vibe just of how James Gunn talks about it, that there's not going to be a lot of like backstory on like giving you context of who these characters are. Like, right? Like it's not going to be like a cyborg, origin story for Mr. Terrific. They're just like, they're in it because we're in the middle of the world, as he talks about it.
So I just looked it up. So all three of them were in the Justice League. So maybe we have a different Justice League in this movie. I mean, that's a possibility. They all have been in the Justice League. Two of them have been in the Justice Society of America. So that's the only one that all three of them have been in. I don't know. We're just kind of grasping at straws here, but
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Final thing, I'm excited for David Corenswet. I'm hoping that it's going to be like the Captain America movies, and that every movie maybe we get a different version of his suit.
We could. We very well could.
That's my hope, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What do you think about, just before we move on real quick, what did you think about them keeping the John Williams, basically the exact same score, but a newer version of it?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm very much of the mindset that is a theme that belongs to that character. You're not going to make a Star Wars movie and not have the Star Wars theme.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mean, like that's what it is. I mean, could you imagine them making a new Indiana Jones movie with a new actor and them not using the same Indiana Jones theme? You can't. It belongs to the character. I think it's more about the character than it is about who played it. That's Superman's theme. I mean, it is. I think you do it. You want to change it up a little bit. Okay. I mean, would you have been mad if like they came out with Nolan's Batman originally, and you had the Danny Elfman theme. Like, wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah, not mad about it. I think
No.
Especially with like Man of Steel, you got Hans Zimmer, so you're going to let Hans Zimmer cook. He obviously was with Batman too.
Yeah, it's the same thing Nolan did.
But I didn't think that was going to be a thing. So when that popped up, I'm like, oh, hell yeah! Like I can love that. So
I do too. I think it's a great choice. I guess that'd probably be something I would say I'm bummed Zack Snyder went away from it, because it just felt like that theme it's Superman's theme, and it needs to be with him.
Dude, the Snyderverse fandom, like the hardcore fans, it's crazy what they're doing. Like David Ayer posted something like in like the movie looks great and excited, and basically he got like hate bombed on all of his social medias to where he posted like, I have to step away from social media. I apologize. I'm going to support my friend who's making a great movie. But if that makes me a bad guy, sue me. Like, it's just crazy how they were posting about like when the trailer drops, everybody go and bomb it with hashtag restore the Snyderverse. It's like, just let it go. We love Henry.
It's over.
We do. Let it go.
We have to move on at this point. Like, you can't just keep up with that. It's listen, fan bases are toxic. They just are, and it's unfortunate. Star Wars has the worst fan base in fucking nerddom. And I don't think anybody can disagree with that, because they hate more than anything. Now, do they have reasons to hate? Yeah, there's things we can hate, and it's okay, and there's too much certain things going on, but I can't hate Disney for making Star Wars content, because they have made good content. Like, there are movies that have sucked. There is a Boba Fett show that everybody really, it didn't work. It wasn't the way it should have been, but Mandalorian kind of rocks, and Rogue One is a masterpiece. And say what you want about the sequel trilogy, Force Awakens is a pretty good movie, and I'm just glad we got more Star Wars. Whether would they decide to retcon it or not, I don't care. I'm just glad we got something.
Yeah.
We should be happy they're still making Superman. You know, Warner Brothers jacked up a lot already. They're still jacking stuff up. So if they're giving James Gunn control of DC, and, you know, we've talked about all the choices made about what movies are coming out, and we're doing Clayface movies and Deathstroke movies and Bane movies, and we're not doing a Batman movie and the DC, whatever. We don't know. You know, here we go. We're getting wound up again, but it's just be happy we have the content, you know? It's like the Rings of Power people. Like, you might not like Rings of Power, and that's fine. You don't have to like it, but aren't you happy we got Tolkien content? Like, we don't want them to remake the movies, do we? No. We have 3 perfect movies. We don't want them to remake it. It's the same people that are like, why are they making a Harry Potter TV series? Why not? I mean, it hasn't been that long, but those Fantastic Beasts movies kind of sucked. So aren't we glad they're trying to do something? I don't know. I'd rather have some content than no content. I don't think they're ruining anybody's legacy. The sequel trilogy to Star Wars doesn't ruin what the original trilogy did to me. If anything, it made people appreciate the prequel trilogy more. It did.
What a great observation. It's a very astute observation.
So this, so let's talk about Superman. The original Superman is a freaking amazing movie, and the fact that it was made in 1978 is crazy. And Superman 2 is awesome. And the Donner cut of Superman 2 might be even better. Superman 3 and 4 did suck, and that is because the studio got too fucking involved. And the same thing happened with Batman. The original Batman is awesome, and then Batman Returns is even better. And then the studio got involved, and we got Batman Forever, and we got Batman and Robin. It happens.
You'd think maybe that's the one thing that Marvel does so well, is that they
put somebody that knows what they're doing in charge of it and let them cook.
And then whenever they've hired their directors, at least in the first couple of phases, it was like you're being like Taika Waititi, like you're being hired to do your version
of Thor,
like your style of Thor. And then we got a completely different Thor movie than the first two. And it put Thor right back on the map. So
right, and we can sit here and we can say that Marvel's not in its best spot right now, which is 100% true. And I will tell you that Marvel Studios will tell you the exact same thing. They've come out and they've admitted it, and that's why they went back to the Russo brothers. They will tell you that.
yeah,
they will say, we tried new things. We tried different things. We tried different things with TV shows that worked, that were completely different. WandaVision worked, even though it was crazy. Loki worked, even though it was totally different. And they made a couple like She-Hulk that didn't work. And even though it had good reviews, it didn't work. And that's why that's why they're going back. I mean, duh.
That's why they're reviving RDJ and reviving Chris Evans. Bring them back. Yeah. Give us what we want.
Well, it's one of the greatest things about all this multiverse stuff too, is you can have variants, and you know, it's okay. They can have we could get an Andrew Garfield movie again if we wanted to, and who knows? And I know.
Oh my gosh, you're obviously that's a can of worms that we've talked about before. Of the Spider-Man. We talk about the same stuff almost every other week.
Sell it back.
With the Spider-Man villain movies, it came out this week that there has never been anything keeping Spider-Man from being in the Sony universe. That they could have
anybody.
They could have had Tom Holland's version. They could have had Andrew Garfield's, and that was like blowing people's minds that like, oh, there actually is no contractual thing keeping them from using Spider-Man with all these villains. Nope. They just chose not to.
Yep.
What? Why?
Pretty much. Because Sony has fumbled the bag like Warner Brothers fumbled the bag. Like, God. If not worse, because, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the hell these movies are about. You can make a Venom movie and it not be stupid. You can make a Kraven the Hunter movie and it not have some of the worst dialogue, allegedly, some of the worst dialogue known to man. Like, you can make those movies. Morbius was terrible.
Yeah.
And it's probably better than Madam Web and Kraven, and it's probably better than at least one of the Venom movies. That's how fucking bad it is. Like, that's where we're at.
If Kevin Feige were to announce that he was making a Venom movie, totally new, different in that Spider-Man we all just would have such a different mindset of what that would look like, and
we can trust him. Yeah, we can trust him.
It's just so crazy. So
we can 100% trust what he's doing. Anyway, this has turned in. We've talked about one thing and it's gone off into a bunch of tangents. So I feel like that.
It's our podcast.
I do want to say, like, what I was going to do for 6 to Midnight, and I'm just going to go real quick, is Red One was a quick trip in theaters, and did you watch it?
Dude, it's so good.
It's so much better than it should have been.
Good.
Listen, good. It didn't do great in theaters. They should have just let it come out last year. They should have said, because they pushed it back because of the strikes, because they couldn't do the marketing and everything. But nothing else came out last year. Remember, like, everything bombed. It was the worst Thanksgiving movie season on record. This year we got Gladiator, and we got freaking Wicked, and we got Moana 2, and like all those movies came out, and Red One just went.
Yeah.
Now I know, because it was an Amazon movie, that they had planned on putting it on Prime fast. Anyway, I knew it was going to be on Prime before Christmas.
Yeah.
But they had it out a couple weeks before Christmas. It's a huge streaming debut, which is great. I'm glad, because it's good. I don't care what anybody says. I've watched it twice. It's highly entertaining. Highly entertaining.
My wife and I watched one of the nights my kids were over at the in-laws. We watched it, just us, like without the kids. And both of us were like, this movie's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Chris Evans and The Rock.
Yeah.
Hello. Like, who doesn't love? I mean, who doesn't love both of those people for the most part? I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
are a hit and miss on The Rock, but
And the villain was awesome.
dude,
And Krampus was awesome.
it was such a fun,
It was great.
peek into just Christmas lore and Christmas cool stuff. It's immediately going to be one of our Christmas rotation movies. My kids loved it.
I watched it twice. I might watch it one more time before Christmas. I really did enjoy it that much. It's just entertaining. No, it's not going to win any freaking awards. It's an entertaining Christmas movie. It's actually pretty enjoyable.
It's crazy. The audience score is like a 95, and the reviews, I don't know if, I mean, just because it's a wacky, zany movie, it's like a Rotten Tomatoes has us a 30.
Yeah.
But the fan reviews is like, this is fucking awesome.
Well, like over Thanksgiving, the kids spent a day with my dad and stepmom. So they were with their grandparents that they'd come down for Thanksgiving. And on Black Friday, they took them to the movies. And they like couldn't get into Wicked or Moana, so they decided to go see Red One. So when they got home, I was like, "Oh, how was the movie?" And they're like, "It was great." And I'm like, "Really?" They're like, "Yes." Like almost surprising, like way better than it should have been. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then, it came out on streaming, and it is great. I was wrapping presents and watching it, and I'm like, I'm going to stop wrapping presents and I'm going to watch this. And I'm like texting you, like, this movie is shockingly good. Like, I think I said shockingly good.
That was why we watched it.
It has no business being this good.
Yep.
So I wanted to say, do you guys need to watch that? If this comes out on the 23rd, like you have a couple days to watch Red One. You totally should.
Go watch it.
I did take the kids to go see Sonic 3. It's the best Sonic the Hedgehog movie yet. Keanu Reeves' Shadow is awesome. And Jim Carrey, Dr. Robotnik's is, I told my kids, I said, I am so excited to show you guys Ace Ventura and movies like that, because he's such a great physical comedian. He's in his two of them. I loved it. It's great. It was entertaining.
That's awesome.
It is what it is. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. You've seen the first two. You know what you're getting into. It's probably got the most action of the three. And somebody said it feels like I'm watching a Dragon Ball movie. And after watching it, I completely know what they meant. Like it. Yeah, it kind of did, which is weird, but
nice. I like the first two. They're fun. They're cool.
And ever since
that really crappy trailer dropped and they went back and dove in, like it's been.
We wouldn't have probably gotten these other two sequels if they wouldn't have done that. Because everybody would have seen the first one and said, I don't care if this movie is worth a shit. That character design is so god awful bad that I will not watch this movie. Paramount announced today the fourth one's coming out spring 2027.
Oh my god!
So it's already announced. Greenlit.
That's awesome.
Let's go.
The original Sonic design from the first trailer reminds me of like whenever there's like the picture of the horse and it's like two really great drawings, and then like the kindergartner drew the other one. So nice.
Anyway, that's what I had. So, anything else that you wanted to cover tonight? Right.
We've covered everything.
We talked about Superman for a half an hour. That's crazy. Anyway,
I did say I only needed one.
Yeah, that takes us to our you need to see this movie, the 2019 animated Christmas adventure comedy film, Klaus.
Classic, instant, legendary Muppets Christmas level classic.
It is. It was directed by Sergio Pablos, written by Pablos, Jim Mahoney, and Zach Lewis. The cast includes Jason Schwartzman as Jesper, J.K. Simmons as Klaus, Rashida Jones as Alva, Will Sasso as Mr. Ellingbo, Joan Cusack as Mrs. Crumb. They're the two feuding family heads of the family, if you will. And then Norm Macdonald as Moggins, the ferry captain, in his last role before he passed away.
Forgot about that he passed away.
Yeah, so it was the last thing Norm Macdonald did before that. You turned me on to this movie a couple years ago. You're like, have you seen this? And I said, I don't even know what it is. I've never heard of it. And you're like, it's on Netflix. You need to check it out. It's actually really good. I think it was probably in 2021. It was probably 2 years ago when you told me that.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's required viewing at Christmas time. Like,
yes, it is.
It has to be watched. It's one of those Christmas movies that, like, it makes you feel better.
Yes.
It makes you smile.
In a great mindset.
Yes. It is such a Christmas magic Christmas movie. It's and the animation's amazing. It looks wonderful. Yeah. It's so cool. It's one of those movies that just, like, it shouldn't have been on streaming. Like, this needed to be seen in a theater. Like,
I was just going to say, if this would have came out like 10 or 15 years ago, this would have been like a theater release that would have been a hit. Like,
yeah,
it's so under the radar on Netflix. I don't even remember, like, when it came out, there wasn't like a trailer that I saw that like got me excited. It was just like a random, like, suggested movie on Netflix. And when you like hover over a thing on Netflix, it'll play like a couple of seconds of the movie. And the art style just really stuck out to me, the animation. And then Jesper's voice actor is just like, he was hilarious. I'm like, all right, who's... And then Santa Claus, J.K. Simmons, started talking. I'm like, wait a minute. All right, I got to watch this.
Right.
I'm like, the next day after Halloween, it's the first movie that we watched to kick off Christmas season. So
those of you that don't know, basically what Klaus is a different version of the Santa Claus origin story. Is basically what it is. It's a version that takes, some of the myth, but it creates its own story. Basically what it is Jesper is he's at postmaster training school, right? There's a big emphasis on being a postmaster in this movie. And his dad is like the chief postmaster general, right? He's the postmaster general. So Jesper's at the training school and he's like in a tent and he's got servants and he's drinking tea. He's got cucumbers on his eyes. He's not doing anything. The sergeant of the postmasters basically is like, you have to do equestrian. Are you supposed to be in equestrian training? And Jesper's like, oh, I have somebody filling in for that. And it's a dummy. I'll learn how to ride a horse. And he basically tells his dad, like, you're the worst at this. And he was the worst at that. And there's no way he can ever be a postman. And Jasper's like, I guess I'll just have to go back to sitting on my silk sheets and getting served, whatever I want at any time. And
very like that. Cusco from Emperor's New Groove kind of like vibe, personality. Just a spoiled brat,
100%.
Living high life under his very popular, very high level father.
Yeah. So you find out Jesper kind of sabotaged this training, like decided to do a bad job just so he would get kicked out of school. But of course his father, the postmaster general, is tired of Jasper's bullshit and basically says, oh, we've graduated and we're going to send you to Schmierenberg.
Yeah. It's I just got a Christmas mug last year for it. So the town they send him to is basically his dad is pretty much like, no, you don't get to live off of my dime for the rest of your life. You are going to go up to the furthest tiny little shitty snow town that is out in the middle of nowhere. And he basically tells him you have to set a certain amount of letters that need to be sent by the town.
6,000 in a year.
Yes. And I think from what they look, just when he goes to like check what they sent the year prior, there was like 0 letters. So it's like town that doesn't send a single letter. He's got to get him to 6,000 to keep taking us here. You're leading the way.
So he rides. So Moggins is like the ferry guy. He takes him to the island where the town's at. Moggins is kind of character gives him a hard time, like, oh yeah, you're gonna do great, you're gonna love it here, it's such a great place, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And Jasper gets there. It's way up in the north. It's in this Scandinavian island, so it's snow and cold all the time, pretty much in the winter months. He gets there and he realizes that like his postmaster house is full of chickens and has like holes in the walls, and like it's just a shack. And he doesn't have the creature comforts he's used to. He then realizes that nobody ever sends mail because everybody in the town hates everybody else.
Yeah.
Basically,
This part of the movie, I think, is like not the best part, but really like kicks it off when he basically is finding out that the town, he doesn't know that it's a shithole until he gets there. And then the more that it's just like every step things get worse. Like the more and more he starts showing up to his house, he realizes it's shit. He goes to the town square. He hasn't seen a soul yet, so he's starting to think that maybe he's in a ghost town. And the boat captain makes him ring the bell. And when he rings the bell, all of a sudden, all-out war starts happening around him between the two families, which you find out a little bit of background on that.
These two, it's like the Hatfields and McCoys, right? Like they're basically like two families that live in this town, and everybody has only known hate for the other side of the family. They have this like ongoing feud from a dispute from like centuries ago or whatever, and all their family has hated each other the entire time, and that's what they do. There's a montage where it's like the old lady's walking out and she's got like a bucket of slop and she's throwing it on somebody else's clean sheets. Or there's the sled group that go down and throw like harpoons, like whaling harpoons against the other side's, all their houses. They're like all impaled. Graffiti on all the fences. They all trash everybody. There's this part where they knock the one guy's house over and he's in the bathtub and he slides out into the snow and he's just scrubbing his back. It's just all it is. It's just hate.
It's very, like you said, Hatfield McCoy's very, what's Romeo and Juliet? Montague and the Capulets? Is that
Capulets,
what it is? Yep. They like, their hatred is hilarious. Also, I don't think we really mentioned, but like the time period of when this is set, it's not like in modern times. It's like set way back, and it's like a period. There's like, it's very like Victorian Gothic kind of vibes.
Yeah, so, you get like a 19th century. I don't know if they ever say what exactly, but it feels very 19th century. Like it's horse and buggy.
This movie is not like, it's not like the recent Grinch movie that came out where there's Christmas and colors and stuff. Like it's very not like that, because this is obviously the origin. So anyways, okay, so he finds out that these families in the town hate each other,
right? And he, there's a couple characters he runs into Alva, who's like the teacher in the town, but she's just saving money to get out of town because she doesn't teach anybody anything, because nobody wants to learn, nobody wants to come to school. So she's selling fish. Like she's cutting up fish, there's fish guts hanging everywhere in where the school's supposed to be. And she's just kind of a rude at this point. And she's younger, she's like Jasper's age, but just wants to get out of town. She's saving her money so she can get the hell off the island, pretty much. So Jasper's slowly coming to the realization that he's not ever going to have any letters sent out.
He's screwed. He's screwed.
So then he gets a kid that's like, could you take he wants him to take something to the woodsman, right?
Yep.
He wants him to take a letter to the woodsman, and that's when Jasper's like, well, it's going to cost you. You have to pay for the postage and whatnot. So he gets his first letter, and the woodsman is basically an older guy that lives in the woods. He doesn't know anything about him. Nobody really talks about him. He doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the people in the town. So Jasper takes him this letter, and basically he takes the letter and he brings a package, and he makes Jasper take him to town. Right.
Yep.
So they go to this house where this kid is. The woodsman doesn't talk. He's just this huge hulking man that's terrifying, right? Because he just swings an axe and cuts wood. And he's got this package, and Jesper takes him to the house, and he's like, all right, we just tries to shove it in the mailbox. And he's like, the woodsman's like, nope, I'm going to take it inside. So he basically launches Jesper in through the chimney. Ha ha ha. That's where we get the chimney. And he drops.
It's basically, you find out it's essentially like the first ever like kind of Christmas Eve type thing where they go and he's dropping off his first present.
Right. And of course he's going into this house, and it's like there's like bear traps all over the yard. It's these two savage dogs. Like there's no way he's getting in this house. So he like steps on a board, Klaus does, and he shoots Jesper in through the fireplace. He gets inside, he leaves the package. He's trying to find a way out. And he finally gets out the front door as the old man shoots through it with a shotgun. So Klaus grabs him. He keeps him quiet so that the guy chases out after him, even though he doesn't know where he's at. And they look in the window, and the kid comes down the stairs, and he opens the package, and it's like a wind up wooden frog. And the kid pulls the string, and the frog starts hopping, and the kid gets all excited, and he smiles, and he's chasing the frog. And that's when, Jasper and Klaus are kind of looking in at him, and they both kind of have a little smile on their face. And they're realizing that this town full of people that absolutely despise one another, these kids are still kids, and they still can, enjoy things. And maybe having a toy frog is something that's pretty cool, and kind of gets the ball rolling on, they're going to start delivering, all these kids want to send letters, right?
Yeah, so Jesper takes that as he sees, obviously he has a moment of clarity of like, oh, this is cool, but Jesper has like a moment of like,
opportunity.
Wait a minute, how we got that was by him sending a letter. I'm in town because I need people to send letters. So then you get this montage of Jesper going around and like convincing or kind of tricking or talking these kids into sending letters to Klaus or the woodsman so that they could get, because hey, that one kid's got that really cool, wooden frog toy. Do you know how he got it? He sent a letter to him, and then it came and showed up. So I like that kind of kicks off the movie. Jesper is like keeping track, kind of shows him as he's going, keeping track of like where his letter count is, and goes back to the woodsman and basically has to convince him to keep doing that, to keep handing these toys out. So
and they keep partnering together. Like you said, there's a big montage where they're partnering together. They're taking the toys. Jasper's always the one that has to like go in and deliver them, and Klaus sits in the carriage. And then there's scenes cut into that too, where like one kid's throwing snowballs at another kid, and Jasper's like, well, you're not going to get a toy because Klaus doesn't give toys to naughty kids. And he's like, well, how would he do that? And he says, well, he sees you when you're sleeping, and he knows things, he knows when you're naughty or if you've been bad or good. And it all kind of plays into that. And then there's a group of kids that are like, we can't write letters. We don't know how to write. And so Jasper's like, you need to go to see Alva and tell her that she needs to teach you how to write at school. And then there's the little like, I don't, they're not Inuits, but they're like, they speak a different language. They speak like I
thought kind of got like Eskimo vibes.
That's what when they say Inuit, they're, they're like natives. They live on the ice in huts, and, but it's Scandinavia. So everybody's, like the whitest whites. But
they're very different, separent from like the townspeople.
Yeah,
like
their
clothes are colorful and
they
totally
wear these
different
kind of hats. They're not like a tribe. It's not, but at the same time they live in tents and they live on the ice. Yeah. Anyway, one of them, this little girl keeps coming back, and Jesper's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I can't understand a word you're saying. So you kind of, and all this is happening in like the town is starting to change, right? The kids are all playing with one another. You get part of this montage too, where it's like this one lady, it's a great example where they pick all her fruit for her off her tree instead of stealing it because she's from one of the other families. So then to repay these kids for their kindness, she like takes some jars of jam and gives them to the kid's mom. And of course, you know, they're all very and like handing it to each other. And then the kid's mom in turn like bakes her a pie, you know, and you see the town starts to change. Like the crotchety old man with the gun, like he's got a hole in his fence from, you know, when Jasper came. And instead of like boarding it up, you see him get boards. He actually builds like a place, like a swing set, like a jungle gym, and knocks the fence down so all the kids can play. And people are starting to smile at each other, and the town's starting to change. But now the heads of the families, Mr. Ellingbow and Mrs. Crumb, are realizing that this can't happen. We are meant to hate each other. So, you know, the only way we can stop this is if we join forces, and then we can go back to hating each other after we figure out what the hell's happening here. Alva basically has all these kids. She's starting to teach them lessons, and then they're asking to learn more. And so she's changing, you know, and so she's starting to take from her savings to clean up the school and actually buy supplies to turn it into a school. And Jasper and Klaus are still delivering toys, and then eventually they run out of toys and they don't have any more. So Jasper tries to convince Klaus to make more. All you have to do is make more toys. And Klaus tells him he doesn't make toys. You make birdhouses. I don't make toys anymore. And you kind of get the sad backstory where Klaus and his wife had made all these toys for all the children they wanted to have, right? They wanted to have all these kids and start this huge family because he loved children so much. And they weren't able to have kids for whatever reason. And, you know, obviously they don't go into explanation, don't know why. But they just tried and they couldn't have kids. And then his wife got sick and she passed away. And so he's been alone by himself and, you know, kind of keeps himself in the woods because he's sad. He doesn't have anything or anybody.
And he like Klaus is very like, he's very quiet and stoic throughout this movie. So he doesn't talk a lot.
Right.
And so like, as kind of Jasper's trying to push, like, oh shoot, we're out of toys, like, all right, just make more. And he's like, I don't. Then it feels like there's this big secret that he's hiding. And when Jasper kind of figures it out, it's kind of a powerful moment in the movie. But also like that Jasper and Klaus are such different characters, like in terms of like just how they act and what their motives are. But throughout as they're building this, what they don't even realize is the Christmas tradition. Like you said, it's kind of cool throughout the movie for those little moments where like something will happen that you're like, oh, like that's, you know, that's the naughty and nice list. And like, oh, like or all those little.
They have the carriage and they have the horse isn't able to pull it anymore because it's too heavy because of all the toys. And so then they catch reindeer, right? And then they have a reindeer pulling the sleigh. Even the scene where like they're getting chased and they like ramp through the air and the reindeer and the kids like sees the reindeer like flying because they went up over this ramp, and he's like telling all the other kids like, you won't believe what I saw. All these flying reindeer and stuff. So yeah, it's it gives little nods to all these things and you know what they're gonna do eventually. Jasper decides like, hey, we're gonna set up this workshop. You're gonna have this area there, and that's when you found out the backstory about why he doesn't make toys anymore. And Jasper they kind of convince each other, you know, like, you know, we're not doing this, we're doing this for the kids, you know, it's about them. And Jasper gets the idea for like, let's do it on Christmas. Like, let's make all these toys for Christmas. And he finally convinces Klaus that, you know, it's okay. You know, we can do this. And the Inuit people that they made a sled. Like Jasper's, so they figure out what the girl wants, and she wants like a sled for the ice, right? Like with a sail on it. And so Jasper gets kind of mad at Klaus, and he's like, I'm gonna make it myself. Like, I'll just do it then, you know. And he's working on it in the post office, and he falls asleep working on it, and Klaus just shows up and like just kind of hands him the tools, and they do it together, and they make it, and they go out on the ice. They leave it, and they wait till morning, and they watch the little girl come out and sail around on it, and it's great. It's an awesome scene too, because that's when Klaus realizes, like, I can do this. I can make these toys. Like, I can bring these kids this joy.
Like this, he's like a purpose has awoken in him that he didn't have because he's been sad from losing his wife. So
and not having kids. And so Jasper's like, okay, we're gonna do this on Christmas. And the Inuit people like come and help set up the workshop. They're like the elves, right? Like they're the ones that come and help him set up the workshop. They're the ones that help him make the toys so they can get all this done by Christmas. And these kids are all sending all these letters. And then the Ellingbo and Crumb families, now that they've changed the town, and Alva's showing Jesper too, like, you've changed things here. Like you did this. You and Klaus, like, you've done all these good things. And they get a budding romance. Jesper and Alva do. You know, they start seeing each other. And meanwhile, the families find out Jesper's goal. Like, oh, he's here for this. He's doing this to send these letters so he can leave. So they like start just writing letters and shipping them too. So they're sending all these letters so he can hit his goal and he can leave, and they can stop all this crap from happening at Christmas, and they can all go back to hating each other.
Yeah.
So
and so they figure that out. They start sending letters to get basically Jesper out of there.
Yep.
And then they basically tell the dad like what's going on.
Jesper's dad,
general postmaster guy. And so like right as everything's starting to click for Klaus and Jesper, and they're, hey, we've got this new Christmas tradition thing we're going to do. Right before they go to do it, dad shows up and basically says like, great job, it's time to come home. And that's when Jesper then, Klaus kind of finds out what Jesper's actual goal was.
They all kind of do at the same time, because they all come outside to find out and hear the conversation about what it's about. And they all, turn away from Jasper. Alva, Klaus, and the Inuit people, the helpers, basically just...
Because you're like, oh, you're a selfish prick. You don't actually care about any of this. You just wanted to get the hell out of here. Yep. But we, as we know, throughout the movie, as all this stuff is coming, Klaus isn't the only one that's having like an internal like change or evolution. Jesper does too. But his dad basically forces his hand, and so he ends up getting in and going with dad for a little bit. It's the part that I thought was really kind of funny is when basically the two families like ambush them, and you have like a chase scene down the mountain. I always thought that was kind of a funny little moment.
Yeah. So Jasper goes back with his father to the dock, and they're about to get on the ferry, and then the little blonde haired girl comes up, and she's like yelling, Jasper, Jasper, because it's the only thing she seems to be able to speak that we can understand. And the ferry pulls away, and the fog clears, and Jasper's sitting on the edge of the dock, and he decided not to go. He's got a purpose, and he's staying on the island, and he's going to fulfill it. So go back to the workshop, and there's the families have come to burn or destroy all the toys, right? And they have the big sleigh and the big bag full of presents for all the kids on Christmas Eve. And Jasper swings in on a rope to save the toys, and he jumps in with Klaus sitting in the sled, and he's like, yeah, to the reindeer, and the sled starts sliding backwards. He's like, I wouldn't have done that if I'd have known it wasn't tied up. Why wouldn't it be tied up? Why didn't you tie up the reindeer? And that's when the big chase scene, they're all chasing down the mountain, the sled's going with all the toys.
Yeah,
They're
he's like,
basically
what's your plan? He's like,
yeah.
I didn't, my plan
Klaus
was
is
just to do this.
Klaus is just sitting in the sled, he's not talking to Jasper. Jasper's trying to fight these guys off.
Yeah.
They get to there's a part where, so each family, like the Crumbs have this big ogre-sized son, and the Ellingbows have this huge ogre-sized daughter, right? And there's like funny scenes where they're all grabbing sleds to chase after the sleigh full of toys, and she grabs like the smallest kid's sled, and it's like this big, and she's riding on top of it. But anyway, the ogre-sized boy falls off the side of a cliff, and she saves him. And so then there's these two like main family members are now, sparked something. But the sleigh goes all the way down the hill, and and Jasper's able to stop it. He's like clawing to stop the sleigh from going off the edge of the cliff. And it stops right on the edge. And he thinks he saved all the toys, and Mrs. Crumb comes and cuts the bag open, and all the toys fall out of the bag and down off the side of the cliff. And of course, everybody's, Jasper's devastated. All these toys are ruined. And then he sees one of the packages, and they're just pieces of wood. They're just logs. And it was all a farce. They knew they were coming to sabotage, so they had a fake sleigh ready to go. And meanwhile, now these two ogre children are like in love, and so now the families can't be mad at each other. Like, they can't stop it. It is what it is. And they deliver the toys. Everything's great. The families all get together. They show them getting married, right? Alva and Jasper get together, and then they it's kind of the end of the movie, right? The time passes. Jasper's basically telling us the story about how, the next year they expanded and they went to more towns, and it kept getting bigger. And then on the 12th year, the woodsman Klaus disappeared. And, we know, because we see it in the movie, like the wind comes and he knows it's his wife and it's his time to go. They're older, and he passes away. And so then we go to Jasper and Alva, and they're at home, and they've got two kids, and Jasper's tucking them in, and he goes and he sits by the fire, and he sets out milk and cookies, and it's Christmas Eve. And God, it's just great, because he's like, one night a year I get to see my friend, because Santa comes. And man, it's great. It's such a good movie.
It's so good. The ending, like, I love that they put that in there, because you think like that he ends up passing away, and it's almost like he becomes one with the Force. But like then we get that, like, that magic of, because throughout the movie there's no magic going on. It's just real people, like, doing real things, dropping presents off, blah blah blah. And then at the end it kind of gives you that, like, or this is the start of the tradition, but is this really what started it? Because now Santa Claus comes at night. And that little line where he says, like, one night a year I get to see my friend, it hits you right in the heart.
Does. There's so many points in this movie that kind of do that. Because there's so many heartfelt moments. They talk about, what's the thing that the woodsman keeps telling him, like, one good deed, like, leads to,
I'm gonna Google it.
You know what I mean? Like, he said, like, it sparks something in people, or like one
shoot. Dang it.
Yeah, but anyway, it's great. So just some fun facts about the movie. When Sergio Pablos was kind of conceiving it, he wanted to do a different kind of animation that was focused on organic and volumetric lighting and texturing, and that's why it has such a unique animation, and it's really cool. He actually put together a teaser back in 2012 because they were looking for investors and distribution. Most animation studios that saw the teaser and the pitch they were making were afraid, because they felt like it was too risky and it wasn't something that they wanted to try. And that's where Netflix stepped in, and Netflix announced in 2017 that they acquired the rights to the movie. So full 5 years after they made the teaser, that happened. And then the movie came out 2 years later. This was something I thought was interesting. It was Netflix's first original animated feature movie. It was the first. Yeah, I didn't know that. It was their first one.
That's interesting.
I
know it's like their number one Christmas movie every year. Like it's always the number one thing to play when we get to Christmas time now.
It was critically acclaimed when it came out. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. It won a bunch of awards. It was the best animated feature at both the BAFTA and the Annie Awards. It did lose. It was nominated for the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, but it lost out to Toy Story 4.
Which is annoying, but obviously.
Yeah. So
makes sense. We get it.
Yeah. Like, it's a great movie. Super heartfelt, super positive. It really puts you in the Christmas spirit. It is a great movie to start the Christmas season in. If you're having a bad day, it's a great movie to put on during the Christmas season. Like, it's just amazing. You go first.
You already know. I know you. It's gonna pain you to give this the number it deserves because you feel so selfish about keeping those close. But there is literally nothing this movie could or needs to do. It, like I said, the first time I saw it, I knew like this is now probably my new favorite Christmas movie, at least new one that's not something I grew up with. It's like, it's an instant classic. This is a 10. For a Christmas movie, it's a 10. For just an overall animated movie, it's a 10. There's nothing I think this thing could do better or more than it needs.
I wanted you to go first because when I was thinking about how I wanted to rate this movie, I went back to when we did Die Hard and what you said to me when I was doing Die Hard. And I'm very, like a 10. A 10 to me isn't something you can give out easily. Like a 10 is a movie that there's nothing wrong with it. That it's for that movie or whatever that style is, there's nothing they should have changed about it. There's nothing that Die Hard should have changed about it. It was, you were right. It was a 10. Yeah. To me, that movie's a 10. Klaus is a 10.
Let's go.
It's a perfect animated Christmas movie. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, for what it is perfection.
Yep.
Like when we say like there's this animated Netflix Christmas movie that came out 5 years ago, if you haven't seen it, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Like that's how good this movie is.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know why anybody would dislike this movie. That's how good it is.
Yes, it's one of those movies that I feel like in our lives there are those movies that just strike a chord with us that you just want to tell other people about, and you want them to watch it and you want them to like it. And this one, there hasn't been anyone that I've suggested this movie to that they were like, oh, it was okay. Like everyone, if they see it, they love it. And it's like, it makes me feel good inside knowing that because it's so good.
It's one of those movies too that like, if you probably haven't watched it since the year prior, right? And so you turn it on at the beginning of the Christmas season or whenever during the holidays that you decide you're going to watch this, and you turn it on and you probably sit there and you go, I'm so glad I'm watching this. I forgot how amazing this movie is. I feel like I'm in such a good mood now. This couldn't possibly put me in more of the holiday spirit. Like, dude, that's the kind of movie this is.
Man,
if you are having a grinchy, bah humbug day, go take an hour and a half of your life and go watch Klaus because you will feel. Amen, Reverend.
On it. Put a bow
on it. Merry Christmas. Please watch this movie. We highly, highly, highly recommend. So
do it.
That takes us into my favorite segment. There can be only 5.
Only 5.
We had a couple different categories we were throwing around for this week. We wanted to stay on brand. Obviously, it had to be Christmas related, but then we were like, do we want to do animated Christmas movies? And we had a couple, and we decided to go with Christmas movies, best Christmas movies from the last 10 years. Because, like, when you think about the movies that people watch at the holidays, there's not a whole lot of new ones. We talk about the Home Alones and the Santa Clauses and the Elves and the Christmas Vacations and the Die Hards and Christmas Stories and half those movies are from the 80s or early 90s, right? Like, well, most of them are. And so we decided, let's do top 5 movies, Christmas movies of the last 10 years. Like, what Christmas movies have come out recently that you have decided are a part of your Christmas movie,
Yeah,
requirements?
because we're always like you said, everybody has those Christmas movies they grew up with, those traditional, hey, we gotta watch a Muppets Christmas Carol because that was our thing. But like every year, there's new Christmas movies, but it's very rare that one will come out that you're like, that's a fucking all-time classic. I'm gonna watch
that every year. Yes. And there's a bunch I probably haven't seen. Like there was some on the list I'm like, I never even heard of that movie. Like I don't even know what that is. And
for us, at least for me, I'm not a Hallmark Christmas movie guy. So I know they get 14 movies every year, but I've never seen any of them. So nice. You want me to kick this thing off?
Yeah,
first. I feel like we'll have some similarities.
Probably.
I love me a good Christmas movie. So when I originally suggested doing this list, it was with the intent of being able to highlight Arthur Christmas as an awesome new Christmas movie. But I found out
more than 10 years old.
It's older than 10 years.
It is. Saw that too.
2011. It was like, oh, fuck. So
maybe we should have done 15 years.
Yes. So my list it was a fun one. I went through and I was like, yeah, I'm comfortable about this. I do have one honorable mention. It was actually in my top 5, but then I remembered a newer movie that came out that I'm like, oh, I got to have that in the top 5. So I bumped it up. My own honorable mention, which I'm glad we talked about earlier today, is Red One. It's brand new, but man, it's an instant classic. We're going to watch it next year. We'll probably watch it one more time before Christmas. My mom gets here. So Red One came out in 2024, honorable mention. And then I've got number 5 from 2015, The Night Before. This is a movie we did an episode on last year. It is just a freaking hilarious one-night romp in New York City that gives you that Christmas vibes in New York City, but just has a ton of fun with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen.
And Anthony
Mackie, Captain America himself. Ton of fun. If you haven't seen it, we have made it like our friend group night. So like if we have a couple friends, we'll come over and like Christmas season, we'll all watch it together because we laugh so much through it. So I'm glad. Was last year the first time that you saw that?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
that was jumped on it last year.
That was an I can't believe you haven't seen it episode.
I love it. Okay. That's my number 5. And then my number 4, actually, and I have to have this on the list because in our house we watch it a lot. People might not have it ranked number 1 out of the same movie or the remakes, but I've got 2018's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or The Grinch, with Benedict Cumberbatch. The DreamWorks? No.
Yeah,
what's the animation? It's Illumination. Basically the people that make
Minions.
The Minions and what are the Minions from? They're from
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, he's a great Grinch. It's a fun movie for us. We watch it. Obviously, I've got a little bit younger kids, and so it's very colorful, and they lock in and they love it. So, and I had fun. It was the first movie I ever took Grayson to see. I think, he was 3 or almost 4 when we went and saw it. So that is my number 4. And then my number 3, which I originally had this at number 2, but I'm moving it back to number 3 just because the vibe is a little different than my top 2. But I have 2023's The Holdovers, which did not realize that was a Christmas movie until we watched it after Christmas last year. And as if I remember right, this was like a golden 11 for you, or at least it was your first 10.
It was the first 10 I ever
Um,
gave. You are right.
it's such a good movie.
So good.
It doesn't have the same like Christmas spirit as these other two movies that I'm about to say, but it's so good. It's a top 5. If you haven't seen The Holdovers, you need to. And watch it during Christmas season. Number 2, this is from 2017. This is another movie that I stumbled upon randomly on a streaming service a couple years ago. And for whatever reason, it just strikes a chord. It's a movie I really enjoy. I watch it every year. It's called The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's basically a period piece movie that's kind of funny, heartfelt, a little bit sad. It's like it's a version of A Christmas Carol, the story, but it's actually the story about how Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Story.
Right.
And it's a Christmas Carol. And it's such, they're kind of like Klaus in that there's moments in the movie that as he's trying to write this book, that things happen and it like he recognizes it and he's like, oh, that's going to be actually a character. That's going to be a line someone says in this book. And it's a lot of fun. It's hilarious, but I don't know why, but The Man Who Invented Christmas, I freaking love. That's my number 2 newest movie. And then number 1, we just did a whole episode about it. Usually I leave them off the list when we do an episode about it and then a list that's essentially for it. But I couldn't. The number 1 Christmas movie that's come out in the last 10 years is Klaus, and it's not even close. It's by 14 miles. It's so good for all the things that we talked about earlier. Klaus is my number 1. What you got?
I feel like we almost have the same list. There's
Nice.
a couple differences. I'm not a fan of the 2018 Grinch at all. I do not like that movie. It bothers me. I'm a Jim Carrey Grinch and original animated. Like that's me.
Okay, I respect that.
I think I couldn't get past the fact that everybody looks like a freaking character from the Minions. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah, they all look the same. Anyway, my top 5 Christmas movies in the last 10 years. One honorable mention. No, I have 2 honorable mentions. I have two honorable mentions because I wanted to include them. But I had Office Christmas Party.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is for an adult comedy. It's highly entertaining. It's pretty good.
It's very The Night Before kind of vibes.
It is not as good, but it's up there. And then I also had the Netflix Christmas Chronicles. I had there as an honorable mention as well, mainly because I think Kurt Russell's a badass Santa, and Goldie Hawn's pretty good as Mrs. Claus too. That's the second one, but I think the first one I think is better. But they're both pretty decent movies. So
Snake Plissken Santa is,
for sure.
So
Snake Plissken Santa, I like that. All right, so I had at number 5, I had The Night Before.
Oh, nice.
I really enjoyed it when we watched it last year. You're right, it's hilarious. It's amazing. It's as funny as it is to me. Like Office Christmas Party, I'm a big fan of Jason Bateman, so he's a good comedian. TJ Miller's pretty damn funny. The way this movie works really well for me, even though Seth Rogen's really the only comedy actor out of the main 3, which I was surprised because Joseph Gordon-Levitt can do a lot of different stuff, but he's been doing more of the dramas lately. And Anthony Mackie, I liked it. It was good. It's a good movie. It's super funny. It's good for good adult Christmas humor. I watched that in Office Christmas Party both.
It's very
worth a watch.
It's like Pineapple Express if it's a Christmas movie, pretty much. Right. So
yeah. So that was my number 5. At number 4, I had 8-Bit Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Was a Max original, came out a couple years ago. It's basically like this kid and his friend's quest to get their hands on a Nintendo Entertainment System by any means necessary because they're convinced their parents aren't going to get them for Christmas, and hijinks ensue. I like it because it's so 80s. It takes place like the same time frame when I was a kid. And it's just kind of captures that whole time frame and the genre and the way people were and things like that. And it's all about Nintendo, so it's kind of it's hilarious. And
I saw. Oh, I was saying I saw that on a lot of lists. I
yeah,
didn't. I have not seen it yet. But
you've not seen
you
8-Bit Christmas? Oh, you'd like it, I
no.
think.
But when I saw it on the list, I thought, oh, that's that movie Howie texted me about that, like that I would like. And as you just said, it's set in the 80s, like we've
Yeah.
talked. I've loved that 80s freaking vibe. So I got to put that on my list to watch this year.
It's like even like the part where they go to like, I don't know, it's like Toys R Us and they have like the Nintendo set up for you. You can play it, you know, and it's like all the video game and all the games are there and the consoles and the big box with the light gun and stuff. It's just, it's big nostalgia movie. So it's actually pretty good too. It's pretty funny.
I'm watching it.
So I had that at number 4. At number 3, I had Red One. I put Red One at number 3. Like I would listen when we're talking about like that movie's worth the watch. It made my list immediately because I'm gonna watch it again. Like, and it's gonna be a regular on my I'm watching this Christmas movie list. So I had Red One at number 3. At number 2, I had The Holdovers.
Oh, nice.
It's yeah, it's not like you don't think of it as a Christmas movie because it's just kind of the comedy drama, you know, artsy, you know, award fair movie, but it's actually pretty good. It's entertaining. I did love it. I thought it was a great movie. I have not watched it again this year. I probably need to at some point when I find time. But yeah, Holdovers is a great movie, and Paul Giamatti's just perfect in it. And I really wish, as much as I like Cillian Murphy, I really wish Paul Giamatti would have won the Oscar for that movie because I think he's just amazing.
And I think any other year could have happened.
Yeah, I really think he could have. Yeah, and then number 1 is Klaus. There's no question. Just like you said, there's nothing. It's not close. Yeah, like as good as The Holdovers is, like Klaus probably should be a golden 11. Like it's that good of a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
you should all watch it. Like put the podcast away and watch it.
Yeah, go watch Klaus right now.
Go watch it.
Nice. I knew we were both going to have that out of number 1.
And you were right. So. Like you can't leave it off the list just because it, you know, we don't like want to talk about it because we just talked about it for a freaking hour and 10 minutes. But
it is by far the best Christmas movie that's come out in the last.
Dare I say it might be close to the best Christmas movie ever.
Yeah.
It's in the conversation. So
I know that when my kids are older, when they are like I am now, we're like, all right, we got to watch our Christmas movie. Klaus will be like the first movie that they show their kids, I think. So, which makes me happy. So, all right, those are lists.
I would love to get a physical copy of it.
Oh, that's actually a great idea. I haven't thought about that.
I wish Netflix would do that.
Do they not do that?
I don't think so. I'm gonna look. I wonder.
Yeah, look that up. While you're looking that up, I will introduce the last segment, our newest segment to the pod, which I think we've almost been doing this for a year now, or close to.
It's been a while.
Is our How Rotten Is Your Tomato, which is the segment of the show where one of us puts a couple of movies together with their Rotten Tomato scores, throws them at the other co-host, and basically has them rank them, which one's higher, which one's lower, and what do you think their scores are. It's a lot of fun.
You had a pretty good week last week. You were pretty on.
I'm excited to I didn't do as many pairs as I usually do because I figured we were going to be running way over, so it worked out. And there was a couple movies as I was going through, I'm like, I think Howie knows that. Howie knows that Rotten Tomatoes score off the top of his head, so I'm not going to ask that. So, but did you see it? Is there a DVD of it?
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like there is.
So if Netflix goes under as a company, we will lose that movie to the ethos.
You know, there's been a lot of talk lately about physical media because of things like that, where content's created for streaming services and then it's being erased, you know, like
I think about that when I buy a movie on like Xbox Live,
yep,
or on Amazon,
yep.
I'm like, at any moment, like I could not have access to this anymore when I want to just watch it. So, which we find happens with movies these days. Like there are movies that like Disney throws it in the vault. You cannot find it.
It's funny too, because like you know, the old '80s movie Willow with Warwick Davis, right? Yeah, Val Kilmer, right? Like, so Disney Plus did a sequel series like a couple of years ago, and it's gone.
Oh, really?
They took it off Disney Plus. You can't watch that movie.
Really?
You can't watch that show.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. As you said that, I was like, "Oh, my mom's in town. We should probably watch the second one." I never watched it. That's literally what I thought.
It's a show, and you can't watch it.
That's ridiculous.
I agree.
Is there a reason for that? Did it not do
something
well
to do with the content? They had to remove a bunch of content off of Disney Plus, and they took all the stuff that had the lowest ratings, and that was one of them. But it was only Disney Plus. I think it was the only place you could watch it. So
that's so weird.
There's
a lot of random shit on Disney Plus too, though. Mm-hmm. So for that to get pulled, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump into this. I'm gonna start with two movies that we have mentioned at some point throughout this episode.
Okay.
We're gonna start with 2011's Arthur Christmas. Versus 1992's A Muppet's Christmas Carol.
Tough. I know which one I like better.
How many freaking movies came out in 92 that are just fucking home runs? God.
Man, I like Muppets better, but I'm gonna say Arthur Christmas is higher. And if I remember right, it's ridiculously high. Like 89, and I want to say Muppets is like 83.
Arthur Christmas is higher, which I do love that movie, but it's not better than Muppets Christmas Carol.
Correct.
But Arthur Christmas is a 92%.
Holy shit!
That's I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And the Muppets Christmas Carol is a 77%.
Get out of here with that bullshit.
Hear me out. I think when they did that original score, it was probably when they kept that one song in the movie that the love we found.
Yeah.
If they would go back and do it with that part cut out, it probably would jump up a couple.
They did it because of Michael Caine's overacting with the Muppets.
He should be a 95 just for his Oscar level acting. What a movie. Okay, let's jump into this. I've got 1967's.
Jesus.
How? Like, what fucking movie is that? How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original cartoon.
All right.
Do you know the score off the top of your head already?
No.
Versus 1983's A Christmas Story, the original Grinch cartoon versus A Christmas Story.
I'm gonna say the Grinch is higher.
You just think I'm doing this to set up your movie?
Yeah, you're doing it. So I have to pick something else. So I'm gonna say the Grinch is higher just for that reason. The Grinch is it's beloved, right? And it's basically just somebody reading the story and animating it. I'm gonna say
is it critically acclaimed though?
It's probably like a 90. And A Christmas Story, I'm gonna say is actually pretty high. I bet it's like an 86.
Okay, you are right. The Grinch is higher. A Christmas Story is an 89.
Oh,
which I thought it would be in the 90s. It should be in the 60s. It's 89.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
89.
When was the last time you watched that movie?
Every Christmas, I've watched 30 seconds of it as I'm switching through channels. No, it's been a really long time. I don't even remember. That's my mom will probably make us watch.
Maybe now that you're a dad, you'll like it.
You'll shoot your eye out. Like, oh my gosh, barf. What a movie. How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 1967 is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
I had to triple Google that because I'm like, that is not right. And it was right. So
Do you know what the
Do
name
you
of the
find that
singer is that
frustrating?
sings that song is? Do you know what that guy's name is that sings the Grinch song?
No clue.
You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch is sung by Thurl Ravenscroft is the guy's name. That's fact.
That's
Thurl Ravenscroft.
He was born to sing that song.
Yeah.
With that name.
What a name. What a fucking
Sounds like
name.
Nosferatu or something.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't
amazing.
the movie narrated by like Boris Karloff? Like,
yes,
it's
fucking. Who's also a horror
it's
movie guy.
fucking
That's
Frankenstein. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess those are the perfect people to get for
100%.
this movie. So
I mean, I should have guessed it was like a 99 or something. Damn.
Okay. You're gonna love this one. I've got 2015's The Night Before versus 2018's The Grinch with Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm gonna say The Night Before is higher.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's an 82, and I'm gonna say Grinch is like a 78.
You were right in that The Night Before is higher, which I think you're 3 for 3.
I am.
There wasn't a lot to choose from, so going through here, I couldn't be as picky with my stumping you. But A Night Before is a 68%, which was kind of like, what? Yeah, like,
yikes.
It's better than that.
Yeah.
Don't you remember he's in the church and he's like, he does the arm thing? Swallow it. Yeah, it's classic. The Grinch from 2018 is a 60%.
Huh.
It's almost in the 50s. It's wild.
Which is correct.
I thought people liked it more, but I guess you have to have kids to like it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously you have kids, but
Des loves that movie. Des thinks it's great.
Okay.
We were actually having this conversation on the way home from the movie tonight. And when I was telling him about Jim Carrey, and I'm like, oh man, when you guys are old enough to watch Ace Ventura, Reagan can watch it now, but when Des is old enough to watch Ace Ventura, and I'm like, hey, like even the Grinch was so good, and Des goes, what? And I'm like, he's the Grinch, and he goes, which one? And I said, the live action. That's Jim Carrey in the suit. He's like, Robotnik and the Grinch are the same person? And I said, yeah. And then Reagan turns around and she goes, yeah, and Doctor Strange is the voice of the cartoon one. And he's like, what? and then he's like, it's too bad that one's so much better. And Reagan's like, you're an idiot. And he's like, yeah, that live action one's crap. And I'm like, Des, you are an idiot.
Oh my God. What an exchange.
It was funny.
I don't know why I just picture them actually saying it. So
she just turns around and she's like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot. Oh, classic. Well, to be fair, I saw the live action Grinch in theaters. My dad took me. I can't remember what year it came out, but
99, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I was 9 years old. I didn't like it. It was only recent over the last couple of years when I've had kids, last 10 years, that I've actually, this is a good movie. I like
it's great.
it. Okay, I've only got one more pair here. So these are Christmas timeless
I'm
classics.
4 for 4. Yeah.
You're 3 for 3.
Oh, okay. 3 for 3.
And this is the fourth pair and final pair.
Okay.
I've got 1946's It's a Wonderful Life.
I did that one last week with you.
Did you?
Yeah, we did
that
one.
Do you remember it off the top of your head?
I did that in A Miracle on 34th Street. It was 19. Did you get those two? Did you pick those two same movies?
Same movies.
1946's It's a Wonderful Life and 1947's Miracle on 34th Street. Yeah, you did them last week. That's
the two I picked.
Fucking hilarious.
Oh. Well, one that tells you how much of a dad brain I
have.
I didn't remember that week.
It's still in my text messages. Yeah, we won't do that one. But I guess Miracle on 4th Street is higher at a 96, and It's a Wonderful Life is lower at a 94. That's my guess. Did I win?
I'm dying right now because I
picked
totally
the two same movies. 1946
same
and
two
1947. And
Not
when
even-
you said 1946, I'm like, did he pick It's a Wonderful Life again?
Not
'Cause I
even that I
remember.
picked that I picked like one of them or both of them separately. Literally,
We did those two same movies.
Oh, I gotta look at those things before we.
That's funny.
Oh, damn it!
Did
Well,
I
guess
win?
we're only doing 3. You're getting 3.
No, I want to know. Did I get them right?
God.
Was I close?
Yeah, no, you were right on the money. That's
That's
exactly
funny.
what they were. 96 and a 94.
That is funny.
Oh my God. Well, that's embarrassing, but you know what? Turns out it actually was a great laugh. So
Yeah, that is a good laugh. That's pretty good.
God
The same two movies. You're like, well, you know
I
what
am
movie
an
would go
idiot.
really good with this
You're
one?
an idiot. I'm an idiot. You're an idiot.
You know what really go good with It's a Wonderful Life? Miracle on 34th Street. Let's do those two together. That's a great idea. That's
Old
awesome.
movies.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
My cheeks hurt from smiling.
That's funny.
All right, well, that's all I had.
That's good. No, it's good. It's good stuff. That takes us into the end of episode 70 of the Movie Dads podcast. The You Need to See This Movie, 2019's animated Christmas adventure comedy film, Klaus. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you click the like and subscribe. Make sure you click that bell. You get notifications on when new episodes come out, which is normally Wednesdays this week because it's Christmas, Monday. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you can also find us on many podcast networks such as Spotify, Apple, Audible, iHeartRadio, among many others. You can see some of our short clips and videos on social media at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We are back next week, episode 71, extended break because of the holiday, but we're back next week, episode 71, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Oh, I can't wait.
We're going
not wait.
We're going right from holiday movies into gothic horror. I hope you're ready.
How weird is that I am excited for a very Halloween vibe on Christmas Day? Because I'm going to see it on Christmas Day.
Okay, so funny story. So we do Christmas Eve at my mom's house, and then we do Christmas Day here. We host for my wife's family. And they come over in the afternoon and we eat ham and stuff, and they usually stay. We play games and stuff. They leave at like 8. My daughter Reagan was like, you need to see if there are times on Christmas night because I want to go see Nosferatu. It's actually playing up the street on Christmas Eve night.
Oh, sweet.
There's a chance I might go see it Christmas Eve night, but part of me is like, I don't want to do gothic horror before Christmas.
On the night, yeah.
Yeah, so I might wait till Christmas night. I can do it on Christmas night. I don't have a problem with that. But
I think usually, I forget what movie we saw last year. Maybe it was the year before, but I usually like to go see if there's a good movie on Christmas Day because there's a movie theater right next to my in-laws house, and it's very easy to go like, all right, we just opened all these presents, now they're going to play with them while you supervise them. We're going to go watch a movie real quick. So
that's great. I love it.
I think that's what the game plan is, but I am so excited for Nosferatu. Cannot wait to talk about it next week.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.